At 60, I thought I had everything figured out. I was ready for a quieter life, a slower pace, and a more peaceful environment. The idea of moving to the suburbs sounded like the perfect escape from the hustle and bustle of city living. The promise of wide open spaces, fresh air, and a charming little house with a garden was all I needed. But what I didn't anticipate were the unexpected challenges and realizations that came with making that move. Now, having lived in the suburbs for a few years, I can honestly say that there are some things I wish I'd known before packing up and leaving the city behind. If you're considering this change, whether it's for retirement or just a shift in lifestyle, there are lessons I've learned that might surprise you. Let me take you through 5 things I wish I had known before making the leap. If you're thinking about making a similar change in your life, these lessons might just save you a lot of trouble down the road. Lesson 1. The isolation creeps up on you. At first, the idea of being surrounded by nature seemed like a dream come true. I was ready to spend my days enjoying the outdoors, gardening, and taking long walks through the quiet streets. But what I didn't realize was just how isolating it could feel. In the city, I was used to the energy of crowds, the convenience of being able to walk to a coffee shop, or bumping into neighbors on every corner. But out here, everything is spread out. I remember the first few weeks after I moved in. On paper, my new life seemed perfect. The house was quiet, the streets were peaceful, and I thought I'd have all the time in the world to focus on myself. But slowly, I began to realize how isolated I truly was. My old friends were far away, and even though I had neighbors, I didn't see them often. The quiet that initially felt so soothing eventually started to feel like loneliness. If you're considering a move to the suburbs, ask yourself, are you ready for the quiet that comes with it? It's peaceful, sure, but it can also be incredibly lonely, especially if you're someone who thrives on regular social interactions. Lesson 2. The cost of convenience. One of the biggest surprises for me was how much I missed the convenience of city life. In the city, I could pop out to a store or grab a quick bite to eat at almost any hour. I didn't have to think twice about getting things done. I had access to everything I needed, just a short walk away. But in the suburbs, things are different. Everything is farther apart, and even the most basic errands can feel like a challenge. I found myself spending more time in the car than I had anticipated, driving to the grocery store, going to the pharmacy, or meeting a friend for coffee. There's no popping out for a quick errand when you live on a quiet street far from the nearest shopping center. I'll never forget the day I realized that my simple trip to the store, which used to be a 10-minute walk in the city, was now a 30-minute drive each way. It wasn't just a minor inconvenience, it added a layer of stress to my day that I wasn't prepared for. Before moving, ask yourself, are you okay with driving longer distances for the things you need? Or will you miss the convenience of city life more than you think? Lesson 3. The hidden costs of homeownership. The dream of having a house in the suburbs seemed like the ultimate goal. The thought of owning a home with a front yard, a backyard, and maybe even a little garden was a dream come true. But what I didn't fully appreciate at the time was the level of responsibility that came with homeownership, especially in a suburban area. When you live in a house, especially one with a large yard, the upkeep can be overwhelming. I quickly learned that every season brought new tasks. Mowing the lawn, trimming the hedges, raking the leaves in the fall, and shoveling the snow in the winter. I hadn't fully realized how much work it would take just to maintain the exterior of my home. Not only was I spending a lot more time than I anticipated keeping up with the lawn, but there were also unexpected repair costs. A leaky roof, a broken fence, plumbing issues. It all added up, and I found myself paying for things I had never had to think about while renting in the city. If you're thinking about buying a home in the suburbs, ask yourself, are you ready for the costs? Both time and money that come with maintaining a house, because it's a lot more work than you might expect. Lesson 4. The pace of life slows down, and that's not always a good thing. The idea of living in a slower-paced environment seemed perfect to me. I imagined spending my days in peace, with no rush, no traffic, and no stress. But the reality of that slow pace can be quite different than what you expect. At first, it felt great to not be in a rush. I had time to relax, enjoy my hobbies, and take life at my own pace. But as the weeks turned into months, I started to notice how much slower everything was. Things just seemed to take longer. Simple tasks that used to be quick and easy in the city now felt like they were dragging on. The lines at the local coffee shop seemed endless, the mail took forever to arrive, and even the simplest errands felt like they were stretched out over an entire afternoon. The slower pace started to feel like a burden rather than a blessing. Before you move to the suburbs, ask yourself, are you prepared for a pace of life that feels slower in ways you didn't expect? Because sometimes, that extra time can feel like wasted time when you're used to a more active lifestyle. Lesson 5: the change isn't just physical, it's mental too. When I moved to the suburbs, I thought I was just making a change in where I lived, but what I didn't expect was the mental shift that came with it. Living in a small town, with fewer things to do and less immediate stimulation, started to affect my mood and my outlook on life. I began to notice that I was thinking differently about my future. I was less motivated to try new things, less excited about challenges, and more inclined to stay in my comfort zone. The quietness of the suburbs, which had once been a relief, now felt stifling. Without the constant buzz of the city, I found myself growing more inward and less open to new experiences. If you're thinking about making the move, ask yourself, how will this change affect your mental well-being? Will you thrive in a quiet, slower-paced environment, or will you feel like something is missing? If you're planning a move to the suburbs, take these lessons to heart. It's a big decision, and while it can offer a peaceful, beautiful life, it's not always the escape we imagine it to be. The quieter life might come with more challenges than you're ready for. Thanks for watching. If you've been through a similar experience, or if you're considering this kind of change, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more life stories and advice. Take care and keep living your best life.